Just before 7 o'clock that evening, Johanna and Harry and their parents walked down through the centre of Brashley to the town hall for the meeting. The room was full by the time they arrived, and there was a loud buzz of conversation. They soon met up with Molly and her children, Lizzie and Ben. Johanna and Lizzie had always been in the same class at school, and now Molly was Harry's teacher. The two families saw a lot of each other. Molly worked the room busily, going up to different groups of people and putting the arguments against the factory farm, gathering support. Johanna followed suit with the children that she knew, while Harry stood behind her, silently imitating her gestures and animated expression. Every so often she caught a laughing glance heading over her shoulder. She span round crossly, only to find Harry looking serious and nodding in support. But she knew that he was up to something. He always was. Eventually, a smart young woman came onto the stage at the front and asked people to take their seats. As they did, Johanna said to Harry, "You do want to stop them building this horrible place, don't you?" "Yes." "So you're going to help?" "Yes." "And you won't mess things up?" "No." "Even though you like turkey tasties?" "Yes," said Harry, as the lights dimmed and rousing orchestral music began to play. "You can depend on me, carrot killer." Then a voice came over the public address system saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kenneth Mallender." "I don't see why we should welcome," Johanna began to object, but was drowned out by loud applause from a group of people who were filling the first 3 rows of chairs. She caught Molly's eye, and they both frowned. But then the music swelled. A smiling, portly figure she recognised from his TV commercials strode briskly onto the stage, wearing a familiar checked tweed suit and waving like a pop star would to his fans. He stood under a spotlight at a lectern as the room darkened and a series of images were projected onto a screen behind him. "The English countryside," he began, as pictures of the lush green fields of the South Downs were shown, followed by thatched cottages and old churches. "Our history and our heritage, which I will always protect in today's modern world." The pictures switched to bustling city streets full of people and lined by high-rise buildings. "And what a challenge it is in this modern world to feed our growing population. It is a challenge which the Kenneth Mallender country kitchens are determined to meet." He paused, and the front 3 rows took the opportunity to give a further round of applause. Johanna gave Harry a prod and muttered crossly, "This is a fix. Who are those people?" "He must be paying them," said Harry. "Who else would clap? He's so boring. I can't concentrate on what he's saying." Mallender's voice rolled on. "We cannot rely on old-fashioned, small-scale farming to feed ourselves. To pretend otherwise would be a fantasy. And I am a man who likes to live in the real world, finding real-world solutions to real-world problems." Johanna yawned noisily and was pleased that Mallender glared in her direction. Meanwhile, Harry was trying to keep busy, tying and retying his shoelaces. The slick presentation continued. "Windmill Farm, the latest of my country kitchens, fully in keeping with the traditions of our beautiful countryside, doing the job that the modern world needs. A farm on your doorstep without any noise or smell. All our animals housed humanely and securely, entirely out of sight." That provoked the usual clapping from the front of the room. and a fair amount of muttering from those further back. "This is ridiculous. Entirely out of sight just means shut away. Why doesn't somebody do something?" said Johanna. Then, as the clapping from the front was fading, Molly stood up and said loudly, "Excuse me, may I ask a question?" Johanna cheered, and Harry delivered one of his trademark piercing whistles. "Not just now, I'm afraid," said the young woman who had opened the meeting, "because it's time for us to hear now from the Council's Director of Planning, Mr. Darby Ostler." There was yet more applause from the front as a small, neat figure in a dark suit and red tie came onto the stage. He gazed at the audience with a satisfied smile and ice-cold eyes. "Good evening," he said. "I'm very grateful to Mr. Mallender for that clear presentation. You will be able to study the plans in more detail at your leisure. Do collect a brochure on your way out and fill in the feedback form if you wish. That will be the right time for any questions or comments. As the planning authority, Brashley Council is of course entirely neutral in this matter. I will only say how delighted I am to see the care that has gone into preparing the proposal, and how excited I am by the enormous economic benefits Mr. Mallender is offering to the town and surrounding area." "Shame!" shouted Molly, standing up again, as the children hissed loudly. "Shame on you! We want a proper discussion." "Stewards," said Mr. Ostler, and 3 security guards in black uniforms came into the room and converged on Molly. "Now is not the time for debate, dear lady. The purpose of this evening's gathering was simply to share some information about the benefits this development can bring." "What can I do?" Johanna was on her feet and saw that a scattering of other people around the room had also stood up. But the background music swelled, drowning out Molly's protests as the stewards led her out of the room. Once she had gone, the others sat down again, so Johanna felt she should too. There was a tight, angry knot in her stomach. This isn't right. But then the music dropped again, and Mr. Ostler continued. "We at the Council will be weighing the benefits, along with any concerns that might, I suppose, be raised, before deciding whether this exciting project can go ahead. Do try not to be swayed by the sentimental concerns which a small minority may shout about. I know the Council won't be swayed in reaching its unbiased decision. Thank you all for coming, and good night." His fixed smile tightened a further notch as he added, "I do hope you all sleep well." Music and further applause swelled again as the stage emptied and the meeting ended. "Well," said Johanna, "what a very nasty man."